previous tutorial, we have provided automatically save of the data for a particular table in our billing system database. So this was created dynamically. So also we provided the logic, for example, for the profile component. We already had the country component logic. It was automatically generated. So this is possible because of we did it dynamically according to the existing table and their database schema settings and columns. Currently we are able to add different kind of data in our database, but we are not able to show, to see, to preview the data. For example, when I go to profile, I'm not able currently to see any existing profiles. And this is what we are going to do now. We're going to create a logic that lists the data for selected component. Let's check what is the current logic that we have. We have this index.php file, which actually is provide the logic that we need. So you can see that we have a file with 100 rows, and it provides all these components here, only with this logic. So currently, once you user select a specific component, this condition is true because we have selected page ID, and what we currently do is to extract the columns that we need for our form, and to extract to render the component. But for let's say listing logic, we're going to need not only the column settings, but we are going to need also the data provided for the related table. And what we can see here is that we kind of have that logic that create a SQL query to provide the data listed here, and this, for example, this drop-down service, which is a relationship with the service component. We have that logic that provide this data, but we don't have, for example, all the records, for example, for the city component. We have related components, but we don't have all the records provided here, and this is kind of normal. And currently we have something like one-dimensional array where the column, each element of the array a column, and then we have for that column, for example, here we have the different row. What we need now is to have a multi-dimensional array that provides all the rows from the data, and the rows with their columns. So once we have in the row, we are able to generate the table with rows and their columns. I think that is the better way, maybe, to provide that. And let's check how we can provide it. So if you start, if currently the default operation is a rendering of the form, this form, which is adding service to city component form. And what we should provide here also is an option for the user to specify what kind of action should provide, what kind of actions should be performed here. The default action here is adding data, but what we need is one more option to list the data. So I think it's normal that to be the default operation. So what we should have here is default listing logic and a button that actually will lead to that page. How we can provide that button? Firstly, the question is where we should provide that button. We have that main navigation here, which is only the navigation, but actually we can change the purpose of this file to be not the main navigation, but let's say to be our main template. It's still not a layout, but let's say file which is included in all pages that we have. Okay, rename it here, and then we should include it, reference it here, the main component. And now we can part of the navigation that we have, we can provide also the other navigation, which will be the different operation that we can do with our CMS. And the first option will be this anchor, which will have a class button primary, and it will have a href to the same page, to the index PHP page, and it will actually provide let's just run this list. Okay, and it will provide the create logic. So here we can do this one, create or add new, let's say add new. Okay, and this we will have this action here, which will say this is add, or maybe create is better. It's like a crude operation: create, read, update, delete. And currently we have a create action. Okay, so we have this create action, but also we want to provide the page ID, and the page ID should be equal to the page, or maybe, okay, so it's page, I think it's page. Let's check, do we have this one, page ID? Yeah, we have the page ID provided here. So yeah, it's exactly page ID. Okay, the page ID, and here is the page ID. Okay. Let's check what we have now. Okay, but I think we have in Bootstrap unstyled class, and if I remember correct, let's check this one. So bootstrap unstyle list unstyled. So if I provide a class list unstyled exactly, yeah, I have only the bottom, but also I want to move this one to the bottom. Margin top, let's try with 8. No. Okay, alright, no, it's exactly top what we need, but no. It stays here. If I go here, margin bottom, no. Okay, so we will check that later. But the idea is that all the components now we have that creates new subheader, let's say. For example, country have it, service have it. And once I go here, nothing happened because I didn't map the logic yet, but we can see that we still are the same page. Creating new, we stay on the same page because we provided the page ID dynamically. And now, actually, we want the following thing. When the page ID is provided, the default action will not be this one. It will be if first let's create the action is the same as if it's actually action or no. Okay, that is the action. And else if action, it's just said if we have action and the action is equal to create, we will include that logic. And the default logic was is now listing logic. I check that. Okay, listing logic, it's provided here. I don't know, to create new button, it's unstyled in this case. It's interesting why. Let's check it. So button primary. Do we have any errors? No. It's everything loaded. No. Yeah, I know why. Because we have included these libraries only in the component itself, but we want the Bootstrap, at least the Bootstrap library on all pages. In the Bootstrap's library are this one and the jQuery library, so we put it here in the main. Okay, and the component, the Bootstrap style, will be provided here on the top. You can see we still don't have any layer, but that will do it later. And now it should see the okay. And actually, when we go here in the create new button, still nothing happened. I should actually create. Let's check why it's not detected. So if action is equal to create, this is yeah, but okay, and the condition is actually should be the second. The default one is always at last. So else if. So here, if anytime action is provided, we should consider this one, and when the action is not provided or it's not equal to the what we defined, then we use the default logic which only required page ID defined. So let's check it again. City listing logic create, and here we have the create component form. So now we are now we are ready to provide our listing forms. So because we have the default action and we have a create new action, we are going to do that in the next tutorial.